At RUMPKE Waste and Recycling, family is at the heart of all we do. Our name is on every truck, every container, every facility. And we take pride in what our family name represents: friendly, reliable service. Families trust us. Businesses trust us. Communities trust us. And you can too. Learn more about our family business and the important work we do at rumpke.com. RUMPKE, waste and recycling done right.
When you can't fit the car in the garage anymore, or the guest bedroom is overrun with junk, it's time for a Rumpke open-top dumpster. Rumpke offers open-top dumpsters in a variety of sizes and are often delivered the next day. You fill the container with unwanted material on your schedule, and Rumpke takes care of the rest. Don't wait to reclaim your space. Contact the waste and recycling experts at Rumpke today. Rumpke, waste and recycling, done right.
Welcome to Week 7 of Inside the Nest with Connor, sponsored by RUMPKE. This week's episode is with the Great Crossing boys basketball team for their season preview. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. I'm here at Great Crossing High School with boys basketball head coach Steve Page to talk about his upcoming season. Coach, thanks for joining me first.
Absolutely. I appreciate you having me.
Before we talk about this upcoming season, I want to talk a little bit about last year. A 35-4 record, 41st district champions, 11th region champions, and a state championship. Talk to us about last year's season and the big run that you guys went on.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the majority of those guys started since they were freshmen. So we had a really good 4-year run, I think 126 and 19 or something like that. A great culmination. We felt like when they were juniors, we were probably the best team and weren't able to finish the deal. So, last year, a lot of good teams in the state of Kentucky, but, last year, especially after we were able to win the region, we had the extra week break, and I think it was really good for us. The kids stayed really, really focused during that 2 weeks, and they were focused at 100% on, bringing it home. But pretty exceptional accomplishment, especially for a school that's been in existence for 6 years. Having said that, we had a lot of guys that are, no matter when they played, whether they played 2025 or, could have been part of the 98 team in Scott County, the 07 team in Scott County, because we had some really talented kids.
Coming off of a state championship and you're losing almost your whole starting five, what are some of your expectations for this upcoming season, and who are you going to have, who needs to step up?
Yep. So we did lose our entire starting five. 4 of them graduated, and then LJ went to Hargrave Military Academy. So we did lose all 5. Now, Brady started the last 2 games when LJ was hurt, in state. But I think outside of those 5, I think Brady started another game maybe in December. So, we pretty much stayed with that same crew all along. So, but Brady Orem, 6'7" sophomore, will be counted on a lot this year. He's been on our varsity roster since he was in 8th grade. So this is his 3rd year with our varsity. Played some freshmen when he was in 7th grade. So he's been with the program now for 4 years. It's kind of crazy that he's a sophomore, has a similar path, with our program that like a Malachi had, where he played, in 8th grade and kind of went from there. So he'll be counted on both inside and outside. He's 6'7". He'll probably guard our 5s, but he handles the ball so well. We'll mix him up between inside and outside. And then Trevante Cooper, senior, he was our 6th, 7th man last year. Had a really good state tournament, as well, especially the semifinal. We were struggling first half against Montgomery County. Made a couple big shots to, keep us in it. But so he'll be counted on. Brady had 20 in our first scrimmage. T2 had 15 in our first scrimmage. So they were our leading scorers in the first scrimmage. And then other guys, Graham Swartz will be counted on a lot. Very, very talented young man. He's been with us since he was in 7th grade as well. He's a junior, so he's 5 years in our program. Knows what we're looking for. Ozzy Ismail right now is projected to be our starting point guard. He's a sophomore. Jordan Kuntz is a senior. Hasn't got a lot of varsity minutes yet. Been playing JV mainly. up till this year. So, he'll have to step up, and all of them will. I mean, there's a huge difference between the junior varsity level and the varsity level. And then you got guys in, maybe they were in the same roles when previously in their career, maybe freshman or JV or, whatever it may be. But, they're going to have to step up. And then Jesse Washington has played really well in the fall. He'll be right there in that mix, getting some playing time along with Colt DeLimpo, Brody Ice, and Stan Miller. A lot of sophomores. We had 34 kids in our program, and 27 of them are sophomore or younger. So,
how will your style of change from last year, or your style of play change from last year after losing those guys?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when you have a kid like Malachi, you're going to want inside out. I can't tell you how many times I had to call a timeout to tell the kids to quit shooting threes because, we want to play inside out first. So where this year we'll shoot a lot more threes because we'll need to. We'll need to make a high clip of threes. And we also have kids that shoot the ball really well. But we'll still want to play fast. We were 10th leading scorer in the state last year. We did it, though, a lot with shooting 54% from the field. So we're not going to shoot 54% from the field likely. We're not going to have as many baskets around the basket. Won't have, as many dunks probably for the season that Malachi had in one game most of the time. But so we're going to be a much different team in that aspect of it. But we still want to have some similarities in terms of we want to play fast. We still want to get the ball inside. It may be more of inside off the dribble and then kickouts for threes, where before we kind of threw it in there to Malachi and kind of cut off of it and, got a lot of inside out threes. So we'll be different in that respect. Defensively, we'll still be primarily man, I think, but our main difference is we funneled kids into Malachi before, where we can't do that now because we don't have a shot blocker. I told the kids we got to be really good at taking charges. Because that's our opposite of what Malachi did for us around the rim is take those charges. But so to answer your question, we're obviously going to be a much different team.
You talked about Malachi there briefly. Tell him about his career at Kentucky. He got to start the other night in their game. So just tell us about him.
I mean, the one thing about Kentucky here early on is they seem like they are having some trouble with kids not playing for the name on the front. I know Coach Pope preaches that like crazy, but Malachi's always been that way. So he fits, right in with what, Coach Pope is preaching. And that was always the best thing about him. I mean, state tournament last year, obviously, it's a bigger stage. We were always interviewed after games on a bigger stage than we have been, but they couldn't get him to talk about himself. Because that's just the type of kid he is. He's probably, I think some people are surprised at where he's at. We're not, the guys that like myself who've seen him all the time, I'm not surprised. But he's done really, really well, to this point in the season. He's just so solid. Right now he doesn't do anything spectacular, but he doesn't do anything to hurt you. And there's a lot to be said, for that.
You're playing St. X in a preseason scrimmage tonight, which will be 2 days ago, Tuesday, when this episode comes out. How does playing a good competition before your season starts, how does that prepare you for your season?
Yeah, so I always, obviously the last 3 or 4 years, we've had one of the top teams in the state, but I've always tried to schedule the most difficult teams I can in the preseason. This season being no different. We scrimmaged North Oldham a couple weeks ago, and they're most polls top 15, and St. X, is number 1. So, you get to the kids that, you can ease them in, I guess, to what you're looking to do, but I think practice kind of eases them in. So to speak. But I think it's a good learning experience. I told the kids really it's 2 things for us, and both things are actually good. It's a little bit of confidence taken from if we're able to compete when you're playing the number 1 team in the state. And then the flip side, if you're not able to compete, it's still good because now you put a lot of things on film that you can show the kids that you can work on. In practice, and it couldn't be humbling for them at that point, things that they feel like that they were doing well that we could get exposed to. So, So both ways that tonight could go, and really our last scrimmage as well. We competed in the last scrimmage, and that's all we're really looking for. I mean, we play St. X tonight, and then we open our season at Douglas, who's been, in most places #2 in the state. So we're going to find out early kind of where we're at, but we're going to be nowhere, and most teams aren't. Don't get me wrong. Most teams aren't very good in early December. But with us, when we're kind of, got all kids that hadn't played a lot and kind of, rolling right in, we're gonna have some growing pains early. It may not be growing pains in a win-loss column, but possession by possession growing pains, and them understanding what they're going to need to do to be successful at this level.
For 4 years in a row, you've been the 41st district champions. Tell us about your district this year and how you think you match up to the rest of the district.
Yeah, so the district had some changes because, we lost a couple coaches. Sadly, Franklin County and Frankfort have both had some changes the last several years, but the Frankfort coach just left. And from what I understand, both of their best returning players from Franklin County and Frankfort both transferred out to Woodford County this offseason. Western Hills had the best freshman team last year. So now we didn't play Brady and freshman, but they had the best freshman team. They won the freshman district, so they've got some good young kids. So I would say on paper we're probably the favorite again. But they don't play games on paper, and there'll be a much, we've won the district pretty easily the last 2 years. Where the first year we won it when they were freshmen was a little bit tougher. If we're able to win it, it's not going to be in the fashion we've been able to do it the last 2 years.
This past season was your 11th region championship in a row. How do you compare your team to the other teams in the 11th region?
We're probably middle of the pack, I'd say, to start the season. We had a good summer against them, but LJ played with us this summer. So it was a good opener for the kids. I mean, we actually beat St. X in the summer, beat Madison Central in the summer. So it was, even though LJ played some of those games, we played Douglas without LJ and lost by 5 or 6 points, something like that. So the kids know we can compete. We're not going to be, I don't think we're going to be to the level again, December, January, I think, but by the time we get through the end of February when it's region time, I think we're going to be a tough out.
Talk to us about some of the teams that are on your schedule who aren't in your region or district that you see are big games for you.
Yeah. We still got a really tough schedule. We play in Lexington Catholic Tournament. That field was just announced today, so we play our first game against Caverna, who's one of the top in the 5th region and one of the top in the state of Kentucky. Usually top 10 where I've seen. We go to Montgomery County before Christmas. We go to Cathedral, Indianapolis before Christmas. So those will be some good tests. Webb DuBose plays in our Jersey Mike's Classic, and they got their best player's going to play Division I basketball somewhere, and he scored close to 30 against us last year, against the group we had last year. And then we always play Madison Central, so that'll be a good test for us. We're going to South Laurel. We're going to Ashland. So we've got a very tough schedule with that's going to prepare the kids for where we need to be. So it's kind of the same. The only difference, obviously, we're not going to, in terms of our traditional year-over-year opponents. But obviously we're not going to as many Christmas as we went in the past years. I always laugh, say my phone didn't ring as much as it has the last couple of years. When you have Malachi and Trey and kids like that, you get a lot of phone calls asking for your team to come.
What are some of your keys or focuses for this team that you have to continue your success from last year?
Yeah, again, I think the big key for us is just going to be understanding how to compete every possession and understanding you have to compete every possession. I think that's the biggest mental hurdle that some kids have to get over when they step up to the next level is, and I had this conversation, a long one day with Vince Dawson, Trey, about possessions. He used to tell me when we were up, he would take a possession, when he was younger, freshman, sophomore. And, so I think that's just the big thing, them understanding. I think we're going to put them in the right spots if they understand. And, ours really going to be our defense. That's been our struggle in in our gym against each other. We were better against North Oldham. We still gave up some stuff, but we were better against North Oldham. I think we're going to be able to score the ball, but I think we're going to have to defend the basketball. But the big key, I think, is just going to be that understand their mental mindset and understanding that every possession is very important for us.
Any final thoughts as to bring this interview to a close?
No, I mean, we just want to continue building our program. We've got a bunch of young kids. This is a key year for us, I think, just to compete. Win-loss record, yeah, we want to win as many games as we can. But for us, win the district, compete in the region. Yeah, we still have a goal to go back to Rupp Arena, just like we will every year. But we want to continue to build the program. We feel like we're 1 year away from really being right back at the top, being talked about in the preseason at the top of the 11th region. We got a lot of young kids, but I think we've got enough talent in our locker room that we can still make a dent in the region, in the state, this year. And we're looking forward to be able to make that statement.
Coach, thank you and good luck this season.
Hey, Connor, I appreciate it. You do an awesome job.
Thank you. That concludes Week 7 of Inside the Nest with Connor, sponsored by RUMPKE. Thank you to Coach Page, and good luck to Great Crossing boys basketball team this season. Be on the lookout for next week's episode as we talk with the Scott County basketball programs. As always, thank you to our great sponsor, RUMPKE Waste Recycling, for making this great show possible.
When you can't fit the car in the garage anymore, or the guest bedroom is overrun with junk, it's time for a RUMPKE open-top dumpster. RUMPKE offers open-top dumpsters in a variety of sizes and are often delivered the next day. You fill the container with unwanted material on your schedule, and RUMPKE takes care of the rest. Don't wait to reclaim your space. Contact the waste and recycling experts at RUMPKE today. RUMPKE, Waste and Recycling, done right.